Okay. Hey guys. I don't know how many people. Okay, wait, let's see. Oh, I have two viewers here, and one is monitoring. Oh, and the delay is pretty bad also. As in, like, there's probably 2 3 minutes. It's probably like a 2 3 minute delay. Yeah, it's okay. Um, 3 minutes. Maybe like 1 minute. Okay, I think that's still workable. So, because like, if I do low latency, my computer might die. Ah! Let's see. I'm gonna wait for more people to come in. Oh. Where else can I publicize? Waiting for students. Hmm. Uh, why is the audio bitrate apparently no? The audio is fine, right? Type something in chat so I know. The audio is fine. Okay, then you wait another minute. Ah! What time is it? It means I should start like right now. Okay, you know what? I'll wait another 5 minutes for people to. Hi, welcome. Let's see. Who else can I invite? Uh, oh, wow. Nice. Hi. You know what? I will just start and whoever comes in for now. I need to remind myself to record. Start recording. Hopefully my bitrate doesn't. Okay. Nice. Okay. Hi. Welcome everyone. Today we'll be talking about clothes folds because last week we talked about the human body anatomy proportions, and now today we're gonna talk about how to put clothes on top of them. So, firstly, let's start with the 7 types of clothes folds to get like theory out of the way, and then we'll go to something more fun. Okay. So, firstly, what are the 7 types of clothes folds? Start explaining. Firstly, um, a lot of people say different things, but then this is how I would categorize them. And like you would find quite a lot of overlap if you were to Google, but yeah, I know it says 7, but there's 6 here, and I'll explain why later. So, firstly, there's the pipe fold. what this means is that if you were to take a piece of cloth, right, and hold it by a point, like at a corner, you would see that it falls like this way, so that it goes like in and out and in and out. The reason why is because it's compressing at a point and then it's falling down this way. Alternatively, like why it's called a pipe fold, it's because I guess this would be more like a drop fold, but I think it's called a pipe fold because what this is like if you were to compress cloth on a pipe and then it would fall down this way. For example, skirts. Skirts, what they do is they compress all the cloth around the band and then it falls, so then it forms folds that the rim is like that, or like this. There's this other thing called the drop fold where it's something similar, but then I think like one of them is the start of the cloth, one of them is the middle of the cloth. But then why I put both under pipe fold is because like the folds that they form is somewhat similar, and you can always adopt it and put it together. Good morning, Ray. Next, diaper fold. What this is two pipe folds. So you have 2 points of tension, and then they form this sort of like U-shaped curves, because this is compressed, right? And then it fans out this way, and then it gets picked up by the other tension point, and then it goes back up. So it'll create something like this. Like the reason why it's called a diaper fold is because like the shape is called it kind of looks like a diaper, but I don't really think so. Like these are just naming conventions, you don't have to remember them. Next is zigzag. What this is if you were to look at jeans, or actually most pants, if you were to look at the knee segment or like the bottom part, you will see zigzag folds. I'll show you some examples later, but what this is basically when if you were to compress cloth on a pipe. So like let's say if you push up your sleeves, you might see some zigzag folds. Now I'm wearing short sleeves, I have like long pants. I'll just do it now. If you were to pull it up, you would sort of see zigzag folds, but then it's a bit hard to tell. Because there's this other thing called the spiral folds, where you will see more on your arms, because what spiral folds are like folds again on a pipe or on a tube. Your arms are basically tubes, right? And then because your arms move around, like your arm rotates, right? So then these folds sort of rotate as well, because like it's clinging onto your skin, but then because the start of it isn't moving, so when you rotate your arm, your folds will rotate as well. Yes. So how I would categorize it: firstly, pipe fold, diaper folds are folds that are cloth that is loose but then held by points, and then the zigzag, spiral, and half log folds are on tubes, and then flowy is held by something and then the wind is carrying it, so something like that. And then flowy would go with like the 7th one. Oh wait, whoops. Yeah, like this. And then flowy would go with the 7th one. Anyway, half lock is when if you were to wear long sleeves and then you bend your arm, you would see these creases forming like that, because this part is being compressed, right? And then this cloth is kind of bunching up together, and then this part is stretching out, so then here you wouldn't really get much folds because it's being stretched. Then these lines indicate that the cloth is being pinched here, so then because this is a pinch point, it can kind of act like a pipe fold, past the zigzag fold, and then it just radiates outwards. And then 6 and 7 is flowy and what's it called? Dead folds. Yeah, it's dead fold or inert fold. It's when you have cloth on a flat surface, cause unless you put down your cloth properly, whenever you drop cloth or like it slowly just falls down, right? It will create these sorts of folds on its own because the wind or something, or it's like put down at an angle, or so basically like it'll fall onto the ground, onto the surface unevenly, and then it's called an inert fold or dead fold. But the reason why I'm not going through it today is because like it's less applicable to clothes, unless if you were to have like someone resting and then the cloth is kind of just on the ground or like lying on their body, something like that. But then I think like I don't really have to talk about it today, so extra additional information for another lesson. Yeah, so these are the 6 types of folds you kind of need to know to draw clothing. But then like what I think, right, is like this is just theory. This is just for you to know how you can draw these folds, but I think in drawing clothing the most important thing is to find references, because cloth is not predictable at all, and because like different materials give different folds, and then because they give different kinds of folds, to draw the correct material you need to know what the material looks like, and so you need to find references. Okay, so now we will move on to references. Okay, let's see. Whoa, I have so many references today. This is like quite a lot more than usual. I think it is, but it's because cloth is complicated. Yes, okay, firstly, we'll start with the K-pop side, because it is the complicated side. Can we get hard things out of the way? Okay. Okay, as usual, let's zoom in and let's analyze these folds. Give me a moment. Okay. Oh, I forgot to say. One thing about these soft folds is to really understand the mass that is under them. For example, like 3, 4, and 5, they all talk about the tube that is underneath. So then you really have to draw these folds according to the mass of the arm. This is why like knowing human anatomy is so important, is because like you know these nuances, you know where the cloth would rest, so it makes it easier for you. And then yeah, so clothing has mass, even though it's a really thin piece of cloth, but it still has mass and a certain like thickness to it. Okay, so in your drawings, remember to always draw the shirts and everything like outside of what you have drawn underneath, like above your base human anatomy structure thingy that we went through last week. So it's kind of like hair, where hair sits on your head but cloth sits on your body. Okay, now we move on to this. Okay, so you note how the arm goes on underneath, and then for here, right, the main resting points and pinch points are the shoulders, because it's resting on the shoulders and the gravity pulls it down, right? Yeah, that's basically it for this, and then it compresses here because it gets tucked in. So let me just okay, what you have to look out for is lines like these. I guess this you wouldn't really draw it, you can represent it like this, I guess. So look for the areas where there's a very high contrast. So instead of like looking for areas like, oh, you can roughly make out a shape like this, right? Don't draw that in because these lines are pretty blurred. I want you to look for lines that are harsh like this. Okay. Lines that are harsh like this. You draw this out. The outline so it's easier to see later. Okay, then this is the leaves. And then the outline of this shirt is like that. Okay. Okay. Let's just like trace the color as well. See, this is a fold. Okay. Okay. And then this is a fold, but then this is because like the torso and the sleeves, the torso and the sleeves is like separate pieces of. Okay, it's not really separate, but then it's like disconnected. Like apart from the shoulder and the armpit, it's like that. So then this probably is on top. Sometimes you can't really tell from the. Anyways, look for the harsh lines like this. It's not really a harsh line. Look for the harsh lines like. Yeah, and if I were to get rid of it will look something like that. I think that is good. So I will now explain the types of folds there are in this. So firstly, this is a pipe fold. So this is the point where it's being pinched, and this is going downwards this way. Then this would happen for this other shoulder as well, but you can't really see it because it's on the other side. And here is where it is compressed, so then like I guess it's sort of a pipe fold, but due to the way it's compressed, it looks very different. It doesn't really fit into any category, but that's okay because like you slowly learn how to draw these with practice and lots of references. I have a friend that told me, "Oh, I can draw anything if you give me enough references," and then I said to them, okay, draw a hand now." So what I'm trying to say is that like the more references you have, the easier it is. But then like you also need to know the theory behind things so you can understand, and it makes it easier for you. Okay. Anyways, so this demonstration is for the pipe fold. Later I'll come back to this and explain the color. Next, Jennie from Blackpink. Here I chose this image because of this. These are pipe folds, and also this. This is like a combination of half lock and zigzag and a bit of spiral because hand is moving. So if it were to, so then the spiral would be like it going this way. Okay, this is sort of as in the cloth is being pulled from here to here. Sorry, yeah, and then here to here. Something like this. There is one fold. You can draw folds like this. There's folds like that. There's folds like friggin' everywhere. But the thing is, right? Even though there's folds everywhere, do not draw all the folds. Like you can cheat and not draw everything in, because if there's too many things in, they stop looking anime. They look a bit too cluttered. Even in non-anime drawings, they look very cluttered as well. Yeah, I don't have to. How I like to choose like what folds to draw is mostly where the cloth pinches, so then at the elbow, and then here there'll be less, here there'll be less. But then because of this material, you need to add more because it's thin, right? Oh, so like how to choose what to draw from what material. Firstly, thin clothing, because it is thinner, right? It can create more folds, and then the folds will be closer together. So then the folds will be thinner. Whereas thick clothing, they create less folds, and then the folds are further apart. Yeah. So simply, it's like this. But then materials are like really difficult. So I think for now, right, what you should do is to get used to like one type of shirt, one type of pants, one type of accessory or something like that. And then slowly you can expand and move on to the next type. Okay, so this is a diaper fold. It's also a diaper fold. This is a pipe fold. Here you have some compression. Yeah, because it is a skirt, right? It is compressed, it is stitched together at her waist. So then the rest of the cloth is expanding and dropping down, which is why it's not really resting on her body. And then which is why it can form these sorts of folds. Okay. Yeah, I think that looks decent. Okay, we move on to Hyunjin from Stray Kids. Ooh. Oh wow, this shirt is haha. Fangirl panic moments. Anyways, step 1, find the outlines. Personally, I prefer to look at cloth from real photos because it tells me more information than like anime references, but then there is a merit to those and I'll explain why later. Okay, so outline done. I guess the color is also somewhat considered the outline. Okay, next. Reason why I chose this image is because you can really see the pinch and the stretch in these folds. Like for example, the pinch is now on the elbow because like the elbow is high up and like no gravity, it falls. And then because when you move your elbow up, right, you'll find that the cloth kind of follows. So what you need to do is you need to draw these lines coming down from the elbow, and then it even extends to the shirt. So then it creates these lines like this. Let's just casually ignore the fact that there are holes in this shirt, okay? Then there are lines like these. So these folds sort of like extend all the way down. Why this is important is because it shows movement and it's a lot more believable. So like whenever you raise your hand, if you want to draw someone with their hands raised, make sure that the shirt is being pulled down from number 1, the shoulder, so then there are folds like this, and number 2, from the elbow. Okay, so like if you raise your hands, you will notice that your clothes folds are like following your shoulder. Elbow. Okay, next, compression. Because when you raise your hand, right, it's being compressed where your shoulder is, and also there's these half lock folds from your elbow. Yeah. There's stuff like this. Maybe you don't have to draw in those so much because you have quite a lot of folds here already. And then there's even more compression here because his arm is actually like back and then front, right? So then it's not really showing. Another thing is to take note of the mess underneath, like I said. So remember how last week I asked you all to draw in the lines for the arms, because when your arm is facing front, they would these lines sort of indicate the direction where the arm is going. And then when you have cloth on top of it, and it's like, what is it, perpendicular or like parallel with your arm, so then it wraps around your arm straight like most clothing does, it would follow those lines. So for example, this line here, right, because this arm is pointing forward, this line would form. And then let's say if it were a short sleeve, it would probably do this curve downwards because his arm is moving behind. Then these lines curve this way because his arm is facing front. I'll go through pens later. Okay. So to get rid of the guide, the reference work. Yep. Okay, that looks good. Okay. Moving on. Let's go through all the shirts first. Okay. Like the reference image at the bottom is for pens. So our anime references. So colors look around the same. There's this. I'm not gonna do the outline, but the difference is that I think these folds become much bigger and much fewer. It could be because this is a sweater, so then the material is thicker, right? But my personal observation, there is a lot less folds for simplicity, and the folds, the outlines are bigger as compared to, let's say, something like this. Okay, maybe this is a bit exaggerated as well. Not exaggerated, this is like big as well. Compared to something like this, fine, I think. Like if this were anime, I think this would be a bit more outwards. A bit more. I don't know, depends on personal style. But in anime, definitely the folds are much fewer, and because they only have two colors and a line to represent these folds, so like they can't have gradients. I mean, in anime art, definitely the clothing folds are much more complicated, but in like anime, as in the animation, these folds are much fewer and they're much clearer. So for example, right, what I mean by clearer is because firstly, tension point here, she has a waist, so then these clothing sort of bunch up. So this is to show that she has a waist, and then this clothing bunches up. Because it's sort of like resting on this thing because it is tighter, right? So when it's tighter, it doesn't fall down due to friction. So then there's cloth that bunches up on top. Same with this, there's cloth that bunches up on top. And then these are spiral folds. So then this, because of compression at your armpit, there's these folds that come out, and then so then these folds are due to compression on your armpit, and then these folds that point to the shoulder are pipe folds. Yeah. Oh, for this one I don't think I have to get, but so in anime, what they focus on is all the points where it pinches, all the points where it bunches up. Okay, moving on to Kaguya-sama. So in this case, the folds are much smaller because I think the material is thinner. And then you have these folds that come out from the armpit because compression. This is a spiral fold because it's going out this way, right? And it's doing this. And spiral fold, spiral fold. This one doesn't really have these folds. The reason is because this is a more tight fitting uniform. So when it's tight fitting, right, you don't only have one point, you have points all down your arm, which is why it forms these sort of spiral folds. So it's important to keep this in mind. And then next, pipe folds. Yep. Yes. How I do pipe folds. or when I'm trying to draw from imagination, right, is I draw the bottom of the skirt. I guess this is also considered a pipeful, but this is much more intentional. So then you draw the bottom of the skirt where it's like something like this, and then you connect it to the top. Okay, wait, let's draw it. More curved way. Connect it to the top, right? Wherever there's a dip down, there's probably some sort of folds there. They look like this. Okay. Moving on. Levi Ackerman. Levi H.O. You would have, this is a pinch point because a button is holding the two cloths together. You have this arm here where it acts as another point. So then these are diaper folds. But then this doesn't go to a point because this whole thing is sort of a point because his arm is raised. So then it does like the same thing it does when your arm is raised on a normal shirt. These are compression. Because there's another hood and then it's sort of like pushed out in a way, so then the cloth bunches together. And then for this, right, this is interesting because this is the pressure point, but then I think because there's something, so then there's a pressure point as well. And then it falls down this way because this whole arm is a pressure point because this is tighter. So when this is tighter, right, this kind of like pulls the cloth inwards. And then, so then when it pulls this inwards, it becomes like tight all. Why, like, thinking of the mess underneath and how the cloth behaves is very, very important. Moving on to the shirt, these are zigzag folds, sort of, because why they are called zigzag folds is because the cloth zigzags, like something like this, something like that, yeah. And then how people show that is by drawing triangles, and you have like a zigzag downwards. But then don't make the triangle so regular, so you have a big triangle here, maybe you have a small triangle here, maybe you just have one line here. Boom, zigzag fold. I think this, and this would be the same for the cape. Be the same. I'll talk about pants later again. I'm not gonna trace over this one, but this is just to show how you can show clothes folds as well. So instead of having lines, you can show them using the highlights. I think the main reason why this was drawn this way is because it is leather, right? It reflects. So then the highlights and the shadows are very contrasted. That you can see sort of like this reflection, this sheen. Which is why Gojo Satoru is drawn this way. Then you will see this quite often in manga, in anime, where if the character were to just be wearing full black, then they would draw in like big highlights for the to show clothes folds instead of drawing lines, because firstly it's already too dark, and secondly because it looks cool, I think. Yeah, but even if they're just showing the highlights, right, you can kind of see that these are I don't remember the name. Spiral folds, zigzag folds, spiral folds. Yes, spiral folds. And then they sort of wrap around the arm. Same with something like this, where it wraps around the arm. Okay. So this is for shirts. Next, we will talk about pants, but then this time, I will just show you like what you need to do for pants. So instead of analyzing everything, because I think like pants mostly look the same, what you do is, you know, the crotch area, right? Because your legs are like put together, it will definitely bend where your legs and your torso connect. So then it bends here and it bends here and it bends here. But then on some pants it doesn't really show that it bends here. I think like I'm not too sure why, but I always thought that it was drawn this way because to show which leg is further behind. So then the leg that is further behind will have. Okay, firstly, show where the crotch is. Okay, show where the crotch is. The leg that is further behind will always have this fold, indicating where it meets the torso. And then this will sort of like stretch from down there because it is compression. I think it's considered a half lock. I think it's a half lock. And this is like spiral folds, or what's the other one called? Like something like that, where it's like compressing on the skin itself. Yeah, so you have. I think sometimes when the pants are really tight, it'll form folds like that also. I think it also depends on movement. Okay. These folds are because the pants are tight and it's forming on the skin itself. Okay, moving on. This reference photo I took because of the pants. So then you see like there's a lot of bunching on the crotch area, and also these diaper folds or spiral folds that go down from the pants. So then there's definitely this line area goes down like this, and then these are zigzag folds, zigzag folds. This is like way too many lines, but then usually what I do is I just draw these lines, the lines near the crotch, and then I would make this straight and then punch it up at the knees, draw some zigzag folds on the knees, and then maybe some pipe folds on top, some lines that show pinch. Then yeah, that's it, like for what I'll do for pants, because you will notice that it bunches up a lot on the knees. Like this is all, there's not much folds here, but then whereas on the knees you can see like these lines. Ooh, 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 ooh. This is a bit more complicated because there's this thing pushing the cloth down. Anyway, you see there's always like this line at the crotch, and it's always the hind leg for some reason. I think it's because like when your legs move forward, right? This would act as the resting point, and then this would pull it like this. And then same for if you were to step your leg back, this will become the resting point, and then it will pull it like that. Bunches up the knees again, bunches up the knees, does this, bunches up the knees. Yeah, you see the pattern? That's it, okay. Okay. Same for anime folds. There's always these lines that point towards the crotch. Bunches up at the knees. You see these lines that do this. Like this is similar to what I would do normally. Create these lines, right? Bunches up at the knees. Maybe show a bit of calf. Because I almost said Jojo. Gojo Satoru is buff, right? And then it bunches up at the bottom. These form spiral or zigzag folds. Because it bunches up at the bottom. And then this is the resting area is the calf, so then it bunches up at the knees as well. Skirts, yes, more skirts. And also, like this follows the line that your pants are going, because the camera angle is low, right? That's why your body is drawn like a cylinder, something like this. Then you look at it from below. So then if your legs are also drawn like cylinders, it'll be like this, right? And then your pants follow this line, and it looks like that. Okay, summary. Firstly, for your torso, your pinch points are typically your shoulders and sometimes your waist. And if your elbow is bent, it'll create a lot of folds on your elbows. Actually, if anything is bent, it'll just create a lot of folds. And then next, when you are drawing pants, folds are concentrated at the crotch and at the knees, and then at the thighs not really much folds, and then at the bottom, if your pants are long and it's hitting your shoes, it will bunch up, create zigzag folds. One last thing that I want to cover is shirts, t-shirts. So let's say you have a body like this, and then the neck is like that. Your arms are here. Okay. Let's say you want to draw a t-shirt. Your bit will connect. Let's say you want to draw a t-shirt, right? What you do is you draw this crew neck or whatever color you want. Oops, do it a bit too clearly. Okay, and then because shirts have mass, right? You draw sort of bump here, and then make sure that it's resting above when you drew your arm. So doing this. Okay, I won't talk about this before, but same thing for the body of the shirt. You have a shirt like this, okay? Maybe because of the waist, there's some folds that go down here like that, and then it bunches up, so then it creates these buttons. Thing on the shoulder, right? Maybe it'll create something. Okay. Anyway, my point is that you also need to think about the cutting of your shirts, because if you were to lay a t-shirt down, right, you'll find that it looks like this and not like this. Does that make sense? So when it does that, right, what this means is that when it's on your body, the sleeves will naturally want to come out. If you have like big sleeves, if you have small sleeves, it's a bit less. If you have small sleeves, it'll be something like this, where it's less noticeable, but it's still coming out. So face down. It's still coming out, okay? If you have big sleeves, it would really go out and then do this. Despite gravity, because actually gravity is a really weak force, but this is art class, not physics class. What this will do is, because the cloth doesn't like to be changed, so it will try to go out this way. And maybe because this is a pinch, it will form this crease here. Yeah. Form these creases. And, oh yeah, I forgot to say, for shirts, right? At the armpits, there are also a lot of folds that do this. These folds for armpits. And also, for women, they have these things called boobs. What you do is draw this down, right? And then make sure that the cloth drapes down. Because although some anime don't like to do this, we support realism here. As in, I don't know if you've seen those anime where the shirt is like super tight fitting and then it really accentuates the I'm very uncomfortable with that, but personal preference, I guess. Okay, so if you have a woman, her boobs will be like here, and what this will do is it creates like a resting point on top, and then there will be these pipe folds that come down. And then maybe there will be some like diaper folds or like folds that rest here, but I don't really draw them. I guess if you want a stretch, you can draw something like this. No, and then you can draw these down, and then it'll look something like yeah. We develop this into a food like that. I say as I keep adding to it. Okay. Yes. Take a while to digest. Next, we will be moving on to the collars. Okay. Got my water. Drink my water. Everyone okay? Alright, the delay. I forgot. Okay. Next, we will be talking about colors. So, as I've drawn here, right? I guess I can just keep using this one. Like, if you were to draw like a 3/4 view on a front view, your crew neck would obviously be screwed to one side. So instead of having something like this, right, it'll be at its lowest where this line is, so then it'll be at its lowest here, and then you just kind of connect it upwards, and then this will be slightly more inwards than this one. Like this. Okay, next. For the V-neck is even simpler, so then lowest point here, you connect it up like this. Maybe curve it a little because of perspective, such and whatnot. It will look something like this. Okay. If you want like a collared shirt, there's a lot of types of collars, but then I'll draw like the typical actually let's look at the reference. Let's see, like maybe this type, the first reference type of collar, maybe Hori-san's collar. Hori-san's collar is much lower than this type of collar, but then yeah, just show you how to roughly. For collars, right? Sometimes it goes up your neck, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, you can just draw it here, but you need to know where your collar is resting. So then I'll draw one up the neck. Okay. And then it'll follow this line down. Because see, I drew this line to show that the body is downwards, right? So then this line will also go down. And also because it's like top to bottom. Does that make sense? Like your collar from the side view goes downwards. It's not straight. There are some collars that are straight, but this one goes down because the button is sort of open, I think. And then it will go down right to this. What I like to do is to draw these, connect these lines down like this, and then there will be something like that. Yeah. What you can also do is draw this line here to show that like this is an edge of the shirt. Then make sure one of them overlaps the other, so that there's like a button here. Use the draw like a button here, and then there's always this like other piece of cloth here. What this is the cloth where you button your buttons up. So then there's always like this piece of cloth. Then there will be buttons on this side, and then sometimes there's also this line here, because like this is the line there is like double the thickness or something. I'm not sure how people make clothes, but this is from my observation. So then there's like double lines downwards, something like that. Oh, draw. There's one thing to note: to make sure that your collars always have thickness. So like make sure you show that it's not directly on the neck, because there's the common beginner mistake where people draw collars like this, where it's like, okay, wait, let me just erase this one. Some people draw collars like this where it's just flat, and then it looks super flat, and then maybe there will be like 2 lines here or something. But yeah, this looks super flat compared to something like this. So make sure you give your collars mass. Okay, here shows mass also. It shows that it's like in front of the skin and not pulling and not like directly on the skin. Yeah. There's this. Okay. Oh, one last thing. Turtlenecks. My grandma really likes to wear turtlenecks. I think because she doesn't like how her neck looks. And she likes to wear turtlenecks. But turtlenecks are so warm, especially in a hot country like Singapore. I think turtlenecks look cool. Um, from a fashion standpoint, like look at Steve Jobs. Wait, maybe not a very good example, but turtlenecks and like a suit on top of it. I think that looks super cool. So let's draw turtlenecks. Like the same, like with the collar, right? Turtlenecks sort of like pull your neck up, and then mm, they have masks. So remember, draw this line, and of course, like the chin would be like right here. But then draw it below the chin now. But this person is a headless person. Have your turtleneck. And then sometimes it'll form these folds, these bumps here. Edgy line. Uh, uh. And then wait. I draw in the color. But if it forms these sort of bunching up, right, then maybe there will be some folds like this. These are half lock folds, and then of course in your turtleneck, sometimes actually most of the times they're knitted or they have this kind of texture. Like turtlenecks look super weird with these sleeves. Okay, ignore. Like look at the top for now. Boom boom. Yeah, so this is I would draw my turtle. Sometimes I think because the material is knitted and stretchy, right? Sometimes there won't be these folds. Sometimes it's just this because it's kind of stretched here. Something like that. Okay, turtleneck. Done. I I went through collars in detail because I think at this stage y'all should be drawing a lot more like headshots, shoulder ups. Yeah, instead of full body stuff. Okay, let's go back to the collar. Oh, maybe I should have done these. Okay, but anyway, we're back to the collar. What is this called? What? There sometimes in school uniforms or other things, you'll see some stitching here. And draw this line in like a super thin pen. Like don't draw it in a harsh pen because same with here. Sometimes you'll see this sort of lines. Sometimes there's like lines here as well. You can draw these in. And then it'll make the clothing more detailed. And when there's folds, right? Like if there's any sort of pattern on the shirt, when there's folds, make sure to break up the pattern so then it looks like they're following the folds. So something like this. Yeah. Another method is to draw dotted lines. Um, let's go even further back. This Uh, what? I see. So I was drawing on a new layer. Huh. Okay, let's go even. Let's draw this. What a crew right? I'm like very bad with my fashion terms. Okay. Another thing about stitching is sometimes you'll see some stitching here. You can draw this in a really thin line way. If not, then it will look too gaudy. Gaudy. Or alternatively, if you cannot have like a thinner line, you can draw it with the same thickness but then draw dotted lines. Show that it's stitching. And these dotted lines don't have to be very consistent because they aren't actually the stitching, but they're there to show that there's like some thinner line there. This is a trick that I learned from a mangaka on some YouTube video. Called Doki Doki Anime Drawing, I think. I watched a video like many years back. I don't know if I can find it. But yes. Professional tips and tricks. Hey. Next. I think I've already talked about shorthand and how you can draw certain things, but I can go through even more shorthand. Like for example, pens, right? Like I already said, whoa. So this legs are like that. Out a bit more. E off off. I don't know, roughly something like this. Okay. This isn't the most anatomically correct or whatever, but it's just a quick demo, okay? So you have your waist here. Maybe your pants are this high. So you're wearing jeans, okay? Draw this line straight down. Draw some valleys. Bit down a bit more. Draw this line. There's always like this line in pants, okay? Draw this straight down again. Draw more valleys. Make sure that they don't line up. So then if there's two here, maybe draw one here that's like directly down the center. Not directly down the center, but like not. Don't make it look so even, okay? Once again, make sure your lines aren't directly on the skin because clothing have mass, have thickness. Okay, so then how you would draw the outline of your pants. Then take note of where the knee is. Firstly, this line is very important. I draw this fold like triangles. Okay, your clothes folds are either lines or like polygons. Usually they aren't curves unless it's like silky, flowy material. One tip, I mean of course they can be curves, but then I don't really like to draw them as curves. One tip I have is to think of crumpled paper. Um, but that's more for shirts. Yes. Yeah, draw some. Yeah. And there's like some these become zigzag. The reason why uh think of crumpled paper works is because like when you think of crumpled paper, right? When you crumple up paper, these valleys and dips form, and then it'll form a lot more harsher edges, so you don't really have to decide on what line to draw. Does that make sense? So then if you think of your clothes folds as sharp, right? They come out a lot more like visually appealing. I don't know, it comes to trial and error. So anyway, draw your zigzag folds. They're just like alternating triangles. I don't like how this looks. We'll draw it. Sometimes these sort of line point that. Oh, I think I know why. Because it's too straight. The zigzag folds on your knees are like a lot more bent. Because sort of bunching but not really bunching. Also, lines too much. For jeans, I usually just draw like two really fold. Maybe this can be like a softer material. Yeah, let's make this a soft since it's curving so. And then off. This I would consider a pinch. And then add a mountain there. And this will sort of flow into the thing like this. Maybe or something. It goes down. Then actually there should be some folds like that, but really gonna no. And then there's always these lines that are like connecting the pens together. Draw those in. Detail. Oh, pens. Remember crotch, knees, and then some of the pants look like a more good line. Maybe it folds up because some people fold their pants up like me because I'm short and then pants are way too long for me. And then sometimes they, like I said, remember that they bunch up before they hit the bottom. Excess cloth. Zigzag lines again. Usually I draw these lines like because these stick out, right? So then I imagine the zigzag would go somewhere like this. That as well. And then don't make them so evenly spaced because it makes it more visually appealing. When something is like very evenly spaced, it creates this sort of pattern and then it doesn't look very organic, not very dynamic either. So make sure they're not too evenly spaced. Same with hair. This that. This is a really thick material. So this is my pen. Okay, let's go through skirts. Shorthand for skirts. Like as just now I said, there is. I would usually. Okay, wait a minute. Okay. Okay. Let's say you have a waist-high skirt and you want your skirt to be this long, okay? Draw it stretching outwards, and then your line at the bottom will be slightly curved because of the perspective. And then, so according to this line, just draw these sort of like frills or whatever it is. So it don't have to be super regular. And then we just erase. Okay, everything erased. And we'll have these sort of folds that go here because of the pipe folds that your skirts are that the cloth forms, and it's like from here and it from this here. Oh. So then this would be like a more flowy skirt. What happens if you want the no what's flannel skirts? Okay, no, flannel is the you know Hori-san skirt type of skirt. The school uniform type skirts. What you do is you draw zigzag lines that look like this. Okay. Wait. Draw these lines down wherever it dips and it comes back up. So then it'll show that, oh, like it's folding this way. Pretty confusing. This is for first types. Yeah, something like that. You can add patterns on it, like if it's flat, or then it'll this, like it'll mimic the line at the bottom. Ah, okay, easy. Water. Oh. Also, you know the sixth type of flow? The flow fold. Sixth type of fold. And then the one that gets carried by the wind. So this one. On the flowing fold. Why this is important? It's because like you see in anime, the wind is usually very dramatic. To make your drawings more dynamic, you would have like these wind blowing, hair flowing in the wind, your skirts like just coming up and like, you know, doing a thing. Streaming on YouTube. Hi, yes, I'm streaming on YouTube. I usually stream on Twitch, but today I'm on YouTube because it's more accessible, I guess. So you have also you have your legs. Let's make this person thin because I've been drawing like medium-sized girls. Medium size? No, they're still thin, but you know, like anime legs are super duper thin. Oh my, this is like scary thin. Really not used to this kind of. Oops, okay, never mind. So let's say you have your front view that looks something like this. And let's say you have like a waist high skirt again, because I like waist high skirts. Very nice. And let's say it's flowing in the wind, okay? What I want you to do is draw an infinity sign, so something like this. And then make the loops a lot bigger, so then it's like that. Okay? Connect the skirt down this way. Okay, wait. Before that, right? I want you to decide your wind direction. So your wind direction, my wind direction will be something like this. So then when your wind is here, right, it pushes the cloth here and it'll be like that. And then your skirt will do this. So draw an infinity sign like that. Draw the skirt and connect it this way. What you do is you erase this line. And this line can be there. You erase it because it goes behind the. So then it does this, comes up, and this is the skirt itself, and then it goes this way. This. Okay, so get rid of everything underneath the skirt. You can do is make this extra poofy. Then it shows that the wind is underneath, right? So then this way. Then what you can do at the show that it's being pulled by. And if it's like the flowy type skirts, you can always like add the rim I showed y'all just now. And then up to oh, make sure you have space to sort of like allow all of it on the skirt. And then like the back as well. This you have like a this called ribbon. I have a skirt that looks like this. Yes. Drawing hacks. The 5 new Hololive members are debuting tomorrow. Oh, really? Yo, that's sick. I found like Sarah Fauna yesterday, 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago. They look really pretty. So cool. Okay. Anyway. Yes. And then when you have hair that is flowing in the wind, you have like something like this as well. And then it all like converges to a point. Something like that. Also, right, when you draw hair, try to practice your lines such that, okay, I'm gonna move the practice your lines such that they converge to a point. Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead. So they converge. It goes. You know what? Can end early today. Then give out homework on Discord. Join my Discord. Link tree dot link tr.ee/Ezuri. Thursday. The point and the yeah, okay. So I think like that's it. That's all I have to cover. Usually I will usually I'll do a demo for the next lesson, which is like coloring. But then instead I will show you some examples of what I have drawn for clothes folds stuff. Let's see. Okay. So this is something that I've done. So you can see diaper folds, these cinched what's it called? Pipe folds, yes, pipe folds. And then this is the flowy skirt thingy. Even more pipe folds. And this flows by the wind. That flows by the wind. Yes. Nice and nice. Coloring, this isn't what I'm gonna teach next week because this is another style of coloring. But then I oh wait. Okay. Next I will show this. This is closer to what I will teach next week. So coloring and where you can do cell shading with with anime. No, I can do cell shading in digital art, but I will teach you how to do this traditionally as well. It's just how you should color anime basics. And you can see here I did like the infinity thing ish. Wait, here, yeah, it's like something like that. Yeah. Then see it's bottom up view, so then you see these lines that indicate direction. The snowfall is really cute. What else? I'll show you an example. Don't know if you've seen that one don't know if you've seen that one speed paint on my channel, but these are like I attempted really complicated clothes folds. I don't think they look super good or super clear now, but here you have like a lot of resting on skin and a lot of stretching and dead folds because it's resting on the skin because it's wet, and then here there's a lot of dead folds as well. And then these are like compression because this person is on the bit like this. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, I have more. I think this one. Yeah. I can teach you how to color like this next week also because it's quite steps are quite similar. But next week I'll be back on Discord, so you need to join and you need to pay. But then the good thing about joining is that I think I will release some materials so that you get those materials. And guess what I've said in the lesson, haha. Yeah, so that's it. Today's lesson. I will now play some music and wait a minute because like I don't want YouTube to mess with my delay. Okay, thanks for watching guys. Hope you learned something. Hope this was helpful. Um as a summary, clothes have mass, clothes have thickness, clothes follow perspective. Um think of whatever you have underneath your clothes. Clothes folds tend to be triangles, like usually it's a lot of triangles and lines. Um remember the 7 or 6 types of folds. I also taught y'all how to draw crew necks, v-necks, turtlenecks. It taught y'all how to reference. Oh right, I need to talk about how you can find your references. Firstly, K-pop stage outfits for like outfit ideas because those look really good, I think, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just biased. Um Anime clothes, famous popular artists, not necessarily famous, but like professional artists, manga. Because like referencing anime and stylized work is important because they teach you how to simplify your clothes folds. Yeah. Then I taught y'all how to draw from imagination. Now I will play music for let's stream Lily Pichu's music because it's copyright free. We made it for streaming.